All right, everybody, welcome in. Go ahead and put your city and state in the chat. Y'all already know what time it is, y'all. Put your city and state in the chat or country, because we definitely have been known to be a little international. Yes, darling. Yes. All right, you guys. Well, this is our last live panel, the last chance for everybody to actually qualify for the $1,000 giveaway. But let's go ahead and play our intro. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Okay, let's go ahead and see where you guys are chiming in from. We have on the line, yes, come on, fly, Eagles, fly. Yes, Yvette. Yes, darling. NFC Championship evening in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I love. Is that did the game? What was the game? Was this week or last week? Right, I'm not sure. Hey, Tavonda out of Houston, go Eagles. Wait a minute. Are you talking about like Philadelphia Eagles? Are you from Houston? What? I ain't never met nobody from Houston, or you live in Houston, because I really don't know a lot of people that's from Houston that's gonna claim the Eagles. Okay, I don't know. I don't know about you. All right, Kennesaw, Georgia. Hello, Atlanta, Georgia. Crystal. Hello, Las Vegas, Nevada. Coco's in the house. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see, Lilburn, Georgia. Timmy, Renee, Crystal out of Opelousas. I'm just over it. I just listen, Louisiana. And I promise you, we were supposed to have our networking, y'all, but I literally have been having back-to-back events that I totally forgot about. This is called IDD. It's called Inspired Deficit Disorder. The world tried to give us other things. By the way, I feel like everything was already made up anyway, so I make up diagnosis as well. So I definitely suffer from IDD. And one of my challenges, which is why I have a staff that helps to balance me, is I get easily inspired to do stuff that I'm already booked, double booked, triple booked, quadruple booked. So what we're going to do is, I promise y'all, everybody, we are going to still have our networking opportunity because you guys have been asking for it. So we're going to definitely make sure we do it. Vibe Beach is in the house. What's going on? Philadelphia's in the house, living in Exton, Philadelphia, North Carolina. What's going? ATL in the house. Yes. Oh, IDD stands for Inspired Deficit Disorder. It's a real disorder. I made it up, but it's real. Anybody else got IDD? Atlanta, Georgia. Go Birds. Okay, y'all. I don't know. I haven't watched no kind of football in years, like for real. No disrespect, y'all. If you love NFL or you love college ball, especially if you got some kids in college that's going after their dreams and their goals, I have no problem with it. I just want to make sure that in the process of you watching people live out their dreams and goals, are you living out yours as well? That's all that I want to know. While we watch other people live out their dreams and their goals to become top rated and everything, are you also living out your dreams and goals? Because that's important to me. I hope it's important to you. Amen. Okay. Real quick before we get into our panel, because we've got some great discussions to discuss, I want to talk about our cruise. If you know an author, if you are a friend of an author, they don't even got to come. You can just come by yourself. If you're a future author, if you're a family member of an author, tonight we have our cruiseforauthors.com. We have our info session tonight. If you want to come on the cruise, y'all, this is going to be an opportunity. There's no pitching on this cruise. We're going to have a breakout workshop where we'll just do some goal setting. But honestly, it's all about just having fun. And so we wanted to create an environment where people can come and network, people that have been a part of VPC or watching from afar, maybe not yet joined, and just want to be able to connect. And so make sure if you want to know about this, go to cruiseforauthors.com. And then we're bringing it back, guys. We have our trip to Ghana. Thank you to everybody who has been sharing these details. We're going to be doing Ghana again, December the 28th to January the 5th. We're having an information session on January the 30th. You're going to go to the VOC event event.com so that you can learn more about how you can go to Ghana. And so we have a couple of speaking spots available, but we also have for those who just want to come participate with the nonprofit. We're going to be, of course, going shopping, and it's going to be bigger and better. And so what we did this year it's just going to be bigger and better. So if you want to know more information about that, please go to the vocevent.com. Okay, if you guys are ready for our panel, put ready in the chat. Yes, my dreams are coming true. Oh, Yvette, aren't you sweet? And I'm gonna say something too. I've been noticing y'all been connected with each other and everything. I love to see it. I love to see those who have been plugged in since day one. You guys are literally like connecting with each other offline. You're seeing people. You're like, oh, hey, there's my girl. There's my boy. And you guys are making connections. That's what New Year, New You is all about. So definitely excited. Greetings, Atlanta. All right, let's go. Okay, so everybody that's ready, you putting ready in the chat. Ready. Okay, y'all. Well, let's bring on our panel for the evening. I'm going to have to update it a little bit, but let's bring them on. Everybody, welcome. Hello, lovelies. How are you guys doing? Hello. And so I got to just add a couple people to the stage. So don't worry about it. We're going to add them in. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to have everybody to just simply introduce themselves. So we're going to have everybody. Oh, I did it wrong. Hold on one second. Hold on, y'all. I'm multitasking. I just add someone in. Don't worry about it. Okay. All right. So it ain't gonna look perfect, but y'all know what to do. Okay. So we're gonna add her in the stage. And what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna go ahead and have everybody to introduce themselves. And I'm gonna just start in the order that I see everybody from the top. Okay, you got some red on today. I see you, Dr. Bertha. Wait a minute. I didn't even realize that was you.
That's my color, girl.
Yes, it is. I said looking good. Well, go ahead, Dr. Bertha Winston. I'm going to go ahead and have you start off first and introduce yourself. Uh-oh, you muted yourself. You muted.
Oh, red is my color.
You look good.
That's my favorite color, girl. I had to have that red on tonight. So excited. Hello out there, everybody. Today is a great day. My name is Dr. Evangelist Bertha Winston, and I help individuals who are retired or planning on retiring eliminate debt, repair their credit, become debt-free, and also become stress-free. Because when you are debt-free, you are totally stress-free. So you all sit back and enjoy. And I would love, at the end, we're going to share some things with you, how you can be debt-free. All right. That's who I am. Thank you.
Right. I love it. And let me just make sure if y'all can see us on the panel, just say, I see y'all. Oh, I see y'all. I want to make sure everybody can see us on the panel. And we're going to go over to Coach Don Womble. You are next.
Hi, it's great to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity. I am a leadership burnout recovery life coach, and so I help leaders who are burned out to recognize their burnout and then to admit it and then recover so they can enjoy life and lead again. That's what I do.
I love it. And all right, y'all. Okay, good. Everybody said they can see us. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to Dr. Dawn Minch. You have the floor.
Hello, everybody, and good evening. I'm so glad everyone's here, and thank you for watching the New Year, New You conference. I teach students with severe cognitive delays by day, and I write children's series, and I am here to help you turn your experiences into the written word to share with the world.
Yes. All right. Thank you, darling. Thank you. And we're going to go right underneath her with Daria Rosen. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I am Daria Rosen. I help women clear the fog, regulate sleep, and beat the heat as they journey through their perimenopause system and graduate to the next chapter of life. We are so delighted that you have joined us during New Year, New You. Thank you.
Thank you, darling. And I was trying to solo you, but for some reason it just won't let me click on the thing. What in the world is going on? Oh, we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll have to figure it out. All right, Daria. Well, thank you so much. All right, let's go to the next young lady beside her, Noreen and Henry. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. And yes, Noreen and Henry, because you know I love to use my middle initial because it differentiates me, and I do have a story with that. So I help compassionate women boldly take charge of their lives to create the life that they desire with victorious living strategies.
Love it. And next beside her, Dr. Rhonda Stinson Boyd. The floor is yours.
Hello, 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 everybody. I am Dr. Rhonda Stinson Boyd. I am a financial mindset coach, helping women acquire the freedom they deserve and live a life of luxury by helping them create lifetime income and generational wealth in 30 days or less. And I am so happy to be here at New Year, New You.
Absolutely, and happy to have you. And Dr. Lena Payton Webb, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, happy new year and happy new you to all of y'all watching and listening this evening. So my name is Dr. Lena Payton Webb, and I empower coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, and even corporations to increase their income, their impact, and their influence using self-help books, custom coloring books, workbooks, and journals. So I'm glad to be here this evening.
Well, thank you so much for being here. So, okay, so now let me see y'all because it's tripping. I see what's happening. It won't let me do Dr. Lena and Daria. So let me see if I can just do real quick one more little thing. So while I'm bringing them in, guys, I want y'all to know that some of our speakers, you haven't yet had a chance to see them speak because we still have a couple of more days left in the month. And so, but this is our very last Sunday. So that is why you are seeing some of us on here today. But they will have their talks that will still air. So you guys get to get them a little bit earlier. What a blessing, right? Okay. So that is how that's working. So I'm trying to, hopefully we'll be able to solo y'all out. I don't know. We'll see. Save. All right. Update. Is it letting me? No, still not letting me. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to try to make this thing work. Okay. So with that stated, let's first go into the questions. And a shout out to everybody again. If you're A1 Day One, you've been live with us every single day. I want you to put day one in the chat, whether you've been watching the replays or you've been joining us. It takes a certain type of person to plug in and really stay plugged into this conference. I appreciate you so much. Okay, well, let's go to Dr. Bertha Winston first. And so first, Dr. Evangelist Bertha Winston. So you talk to everybody about debt-free, retired and debt-free. And honestly, you know, with this being the new year, this is the new year. That's probably one of the top goals that we see a lot of people set for themselves, being able to really get their finances right, get their income right, you know, and then be able to put stuff to the side, start investing in themselves. And this is one of the things that you do. Now, I also know that, Bertha, you have an incredible story where you were able to actually get yourself out of your financial challenges and now be in a space where not only are you debt-free, but your credit is just, through the roof, and you are also helping other people to get there. What is your first tip that you would like to share to everybody? Because now we are towards the end of the month, and we know most people that gave up on their goals, child. So we want to re-engage them to get those goals. So what would you say is your first tip for anybody that wants to get on the path of being debt-free and retired?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So my first tip to you would be, first you have to change your mindset. You have to get in the position and want to be debt-free. It's something you have to want to do, and you have to set goals to get there. So financial freedom is about more than just having enough money to cover your bills or live comfortable. It's about having choices, security, and a peace of mind. So when you are debt free, you have a peace of mind. And in order to get there, you have to set some goals. First, you have to, again, have the right mindset. Because when you get your mindset together, then you are on your way to being financial free, if that's what you want to do. So I would say first, you need to set a budget. And a lot of us think a budget is a bad word, but a budget is not a bad word. It is a roadmap to freedom. Because when you have a roadmap, you know where you're going. But if you don't write the vision down, as the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. You see where you're going. The budget lets you see where your money is going. Because if you don't know where your money is going, then how are you going to retract it? So my first step will be change your mindset. And the second step was obtain a budget. Get a budget so you'll know where your money is going, where your cash flow. Manage your cash flow. Because if you don't manage your cash flow, it's going to manage you and it's going to get away from you. So that would be my first tip.
What she said is, if you don't manage your money, it's gonna manage you. And amen. Can we put an amen in the chat? Because baby, I know all about the money managing me. You know what I'm talking? The Dr. Bertha, I know what it feel like. You get a check, the check come in, and you look back tomorrow, you be like, God dang, what happened to my money? Because we didn't properly manage it. And so, and yes, it is a mindset thing. I'm gonna even take it to the next level, that, you know, our mindset about money and what we talk about when it comes to money, how we speak about money. You know, some people I know, and I know you can relate, people that all they ever do is cry broke. And so as soon as they get a little money, the money goes right away, because they're literally creating that mindset where mentally, if I'm always saying I'm broke, I'm going to make sure that I don't look crazy. I'm going to figure out a way to go back broke, even with some income. So yeah, very important. And we'll talk more about that as well. Now let's go ahead and shift over to Don, Coach Don. Man, and I remember the first time I had a chance to connect with you and hearing a male discuss burnout. You know, honestly, if we could be very transparent here, I've had the blessing of meeting so many Book Prophets Club family members that are women that talk about overcoming the burnout. But man, we don't hear, and not even just men, but leaders that are talking about burnout. Don, I didn't know men get burnt out. I didn't know that y'all experienced that too, because we never hear it. And so I'm so excited. And for those of you guys who haven't had a chance, you haven't heard from Bertha, you haven't heard from Don yet, you haven't heard from a couple of people, but I love hearing this from the male's perspective. And so can we even, I just wanted before, because I know you're going to talk about this in your talk, can we talk about what is burnout from your perspective? What does that look like?
Well, okay. You know, I think a lot of times burnout the term is used lightly today. We get kind of tired and we maybe just need a few days off, or we need a vacation. I'm just burned out. And, you know, that can be a burnout. But my book, Leadership, Burnout, and Recovery, I subtitled it From One Who Was Burned Out and Broken. Because the broken aspect is chronic burnout. It's severity. And this is kind of, you get on the step almost of leaning toward a nervous breakdown and depression. And so I think, first of all, people have to kind of define it. Okay, am I really just totally burned out, or am I chronically burned out? And one of the reasons you don't hear maybe a lot from men is because of its pride. And especially if you're a leader, because if you're a leader and you're burned out, who can you talk to? You probably can't necessarily speak to your peers, and you certainly can't speak to those who are working or serving underneath you. And you don't want to talk to your family about it because you don't want to scare them and what's going to happen here. And so it's a real tough spot to be in, because as leaders, we think we can handle it. I've been here, done that. I've been here before. I've had difficult times. I've had tough times. So I can work through it. And so when we become so severely burned out, some people want to use the word overwhelm. I still don't think that's strong enough. Well, we start functioning differently. And, you can look up anywhere, some of the symptoms of being of burnout. But chronic burnout, like I say, it lends itself even to depression. And the World Health Organization even notes that burnout is a workplace phenomenon. And it's in that part, they even have it listed in their categories under the listing of diseases. They may not come out and say that. So that's kind of what happens. Men don't want to admit it. And just let me throw this out here too. As far as women are concerned, I've talked and dealt with some women who are in leadership in the medical field. And especially if they're doctors, they feel like they can't tell anyone because they're fighting for survival in a man's world, they feel, even this day and time. And so it's a scary thing because we feel threatened by it. Who's going to believe me? What if I lose my job? What if I lose the respect people have for me? So those are just, there's a lot of fears. And so I'll kind of leave it with that, not to go on, which I could.
Well, listen, I mean, first of all, that's why we're really excited to be able to hear your power talk. And, a lot of these fears, I was looking at some of the conversation of those in the chat and just talking about, a lot of these thoughts and ideas, and the way that I am today is based off of what I grew up in and how I learned how to be this way. Most of us have learned to be the way that we are today. And just like you even talk about, the fears of, well, I don't want people to know because then I might seem weak. Well, we've all been taught as well that, the person who, the early bird gets the worm, but the what do they say? Stuff like, you also got to be the last person to be here. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to do what other people don't do. I mean, Don, we had this terminology, team no sleep. What? And I was one of those who was team no sleep type of girl. Like, listen, we sleep when we die. But the unfortunate thing is, when you do have that burnout and that leads to the depression, that leads to terminally ill challenges. And we'll talk. I'm excited to talk about that. I don't want to dip too much into your power talk, but I am going to get back to that when I come back to you. Okay, Dr. Dawn. So y'all, how many of y'all had a chance to see Dr. Dawn's talk? And she was just reading through her book. And as I was watching her read through her book, I was just like, this is what I'm always talking about. This is how you leverage your book to share your story, and how she broke it down with every single one of her family members. Well, not everyone, but many of her family is literally in the stories of her books that has gone on to create hundreds of awards. Okay. So I don't even know if the number that she gave us of the number of awards that she's received since she first started with the conference, that number has probably increased because she's literally getting so many awards. But I want to ask you this, when it comes into the space of publishing these children's books, and I know that you talked a little bit about creating this opportunity, what made you decide in these children's books to make them be about people that you know, love, and even people that you're meeting? Why did you center them around personal stories and use those as tools to get out there to the kids?
Well, when I first started, I was getting my credential, my moderate to severe credential, and I had an assignment to write a children's book about math. And so I, of course, used my students, and we traveled around, and it was called Queen Victoria's Visitors. And we traveled around to other schools, did little skits, and then we went around and I went back and then talked about my students' disabilities and their behaviors, and answered any questions the children have as part of inclusion. So when I decided to publish it, I changed it. I named it after my grandmother, who was the matriarch of our family. She was an astute businesswoman, and she traveled the world. And then I put all the children in the book because I thought, well, nobody's going to complain because they're children and they won't even know. And so I immediately won first place in the Evie Award, which is an independent publishing award out of Colorado. And I started getting interviews, and they're asking me, well, what are you going to do next? And I really wasn't doing anything next. I'm a teacher. A lot of teachers want to publish a book, so I published it. But then talking to people around me, I decided I love to travel. So the Queen is going to travel around the kingdom and meet all of her friends. And so I just started including the people that I travel with. I have my coworkers in there. I have students in there. So I talk about their disabilities. Everyone is a real person. And when I'm doing book signings and events, the children love the fact that everybody in the book is a real person. So my mom's in a lot of them, and she comes to the events, and I'm reading the book, and I'll say, oh, this is her page. This is my mom. This is her page. And the children just get so excited, to see that these are actually really people. These are actual real adventures. In my Facebook, I post all of the albums for each book and all of the traveling that we're doing to create the book. Everything's real. And it encourages other people to get out there and try new things, learn new cultures. And so your best inspiration is yourself. Who do you know better? So I just love doing it. And I'm trying to help new authors, people who want to be authors, create their books on their experiences to share with the world.
I love it. I love it. And, I'm not even going to lie, because I did have an opportunity. Shout out to Lena, because she made me into like a cartoon character, Dr. Dawn. And it was kind of cool to see myself like, oh my God, this is like a cartoon character. And so the more that you talk about putting yourself in the book, very ingenious. Like that is such a cool thing to just know that, wow, my likeness and image in a good way is being presented. Yeah. And at the same time, I'm also empowering other kids. And so, another thing, and we'll talk more about this, how you've been able to really use your books, your children's books, to inspire kids from all over the world. And so we'll get back to it and we'll talk about it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go down. Oh, this is good. Isn't this good so far, y'all? Y'all are heavy in the chat. I love it. Okay, well, let's get to Daria, because Daria, she's almost like a woman after my own heart, because a lot of times people will ask me, so what did you go to school for? I went to school for computer programming. I got a bachelor's in computer science. And now I'm over here speaking all over the world in front of thousands of people. Like, what? Well, Daria is a techie too. And the reason why I want to throw that out is because she has had an extensive amount of experience in the tech space, technology space, but now she's talking about, I'm still hot. And when we talk about perimenopause, this is a conversation that, first of all, the only conversation that we've ever had about the change is just calling it the change. We have no idea what the heck that means, except I know that my mom is always talking about she hot. I don't even know what that looks like. There's no even like an explanation of the waking up with the whole bed being wet, like stuff like this. You don't know. And so we never talked about these conversations. And then to find out that you could be 30 years old and having the perimenopausal symptoms. So I want to ask you first, Daria, the first question is, how does someone that comes from the tech space decide that I want to help in this world of perimenopause? And then number two is, why don't you think we have these conversations in our family about understanding our body and knowing that this is a part of life?
Wonderful questions. Thank you. So how does somebody in tech come into perimenopause? In tech, my job or the skill that I have used over the last 20 plus years was as a translator. I was the bridge between the clients, the nurses, the doctors, the medical professionals, and the tech teams. And as all of you know, every group has their certain jargon, and you can walk in and you can talk and explain, but it's like going to a foreign country and you're speaking a different language. So I was the translator that they would hire to talk to the doctors and nurses and say, okay, what is it that you want? What is it that you need to make helping patients treat patients better? listen, take that to the tech team and tell them and talk to them in their language. Then when the tech teams would say, this is how we would do this, this is what you're doing, I'm like, you're talking tech. I take their verbiage and I would talk to the medical personnel so that both sides understood what the other was asking and what the other needed. So in regard to perimenopause, it's something unknown. And I'm going to tie it in with the second part of your question. It's unknown because we don't talk about it. There is a stigma, there is a shame, and much of this comes from because different countries think of perimenopause differently. There are countries that salute and are excited as women age because that shows that it's taboo, that they are the wise ones. They are the ones, and then they are put into a separate category. Some of the countries, I believe it's India, and once a woman goes into perimenopause and menopause, then they are able to sit with the men. Before then, they cannot. So there is the taboo. In the United States, where most of us are from, women who are aging are not looked upon with value. We're not pretty anymore. We're not sexy anymore. Whatever it is, it's sort of like you're not being, you're not being productive because you're not able to have children anymore. So when I was asking women, did anybody talk to you about perimenopause? Again, most of our families don't talk about it. The only thing we know is somebody is hot. So my title about I'm still hot, that not only is the heat of the hot flashes, but that is also encouraging our women that you are still hot. You are not lesser than. And to remember that. So when we don't talk about it and we don't share it because we are afraid, we are embarrassed, there is nothing embarrassing about it. Women, you talk about having children, you talk about the birthing pains, you talk about the cravings, you talk about I was in labor this long and I had back labor and all this stuff. That is kind of icky for those who haven't had children. But that same thing of, I'm feeling like my brain's not working anymore. I'm always tired. Why is that any different? And so, yes, you are hot. And so that's why I wrote the book, Perimenopause, What Your Mother and Girlfriends Did Not Tell You, is because I wanted people to know there is nothing, absolutely nothing for which you need to be ashamed. And you don't want the next generation of women to carry that shame either. So talk to them. Talk to the men in your life so that they know what you're going through. Because if you live with them, they see it. And so it should just be something that everybody talks about.
Yes, indeed, y'all. It should be something that everybody talks about. I love it. And every time, she gets a chance to talk about her book, I'm Still Hot. That's her website, I'mStillHot.com. But perimenopause, what your mom and your girlfriends, I know I messed up the subtitle, didn't tell you. It is, it's a conversation that a lot of times we don't know. We've never heard about it. So thank you so much for being willing to talk about it. All right, Noreen and Henry. Okay, well, we're going to have you to share about what the whole specialty behind the N is. But you talk about being stuck. And Noreen, I think there's so many people that can relate to being in a space of being stuck, whether it's being stuck mentally or being stuck physically. And so first, tell us about the whole story behind the N, but also when you say from being stuck and living boldly, being stuck at what? And what is going to be the first tip that you want to give to people to get out of that situation? The floor is yours.
Hi again, this is Noreen. And so you really want to know the story of why I use my middle initial. All right. So when I was led to create Victorious Living Culture, I used to use my first and last name. And so when I would do research, many other Noreen Henrys would come up, and some were a different shade. So that's when I began using my middle initial. And so when I started to do that, my name popped up first. So that's the story behind why I began using my middle initial. All right, so now let's go over to the stuck question. For me, the stuck could be stuck in anything. Like, I was stuck in emotional eating. I was stuck in a bad relationship where I was mentally abused, rejected, abandoned. But then I was going around the same mountain for years, and trying to expect different results, but not doing anything different to get the different results. And so that's what the stuck is. Just stuck going around the same mountain. And it could be anything. It could be shopping. It could be drugs. It could be anything. It could be stuck on a job. There's so many things that people get stuck in, and then they're not aware that they're stuck. And so with me, that's everything is speaking from experience. So when I was stuck with emotional eating, first of all, I didn't know that that's what it was. I didn't know there was a name for what I was doing. I didn't know that I was doing that because I was unhappy, and it was because of the relationship that I was in. So it wasn't until I found out that there was a name for it, then I started to do something about it. I started to do something different. And so I was reading books, and I was taking courses. I was doing different things until eventually I became unstuck from that. And so that's what it begins with. If we don't know that we're stuck, we're going to continue to stay stuck. So I know that if I didn't do anything different, I would still be an emotional eater today. So I'm glad to know that I was led to find books. I was led to find different things about it, read about it, study about it, to be able to overcome that. Because there's something going on internally why we actually emotionally eat. But if we're not aware of it, we can't do anything about it. And that's with any situation that we're stuck in. If we're not aware that we're stuck, we cannot do anything about it. We cannot change. And we're going to continue to go around the same mountain over and over and over and over. So we have to, first of all, we have to just be aware. So we have to take an analysis of our lives. And then that's how we can determine if we're stuck or not. So that's what I begin with. Taking a quiz to see where you are, to know that, oh, wait, I am stuck. And then that way you can do something about it.
I love it. And I'm sure that Noreen is going to let us know how to get on this quiz, okay? So that we can determine where we are stuck at, because it's important. Like, we can't, this is the thing. And I talked about this too in the New Year, New You. So many people, we have had hundreds of people register for this event, and a large majority, the numbers never lie, 80-20, right? But it's even higher than that. Large majority of people register and don't even show up to day one. And we wonder that, okay, why are we not taking action? And it has a lot to do with the things that we are stuck on. So looking forward to learning more about that. Dr. Rhonda, we're about to shift it over to you. And, Dr. Rhonda also is here discussing with us on wealth building practices. And what I love also, even with your talk, is breaking chains, shifting from scarcity to abundance and wealth building. We are now in an age where there's so many more people who are in a space to truly believe that they can build wealth. But even like what we were just talking about in the chat, a lot of times, Dr. Rhonda, the way we are brought up, the certain things that are said to us as children leave an imprint on our lives forever that we don't even realize. What do you think I'm made of? Money? Money don't grow on trees. When it does, Like paper really does grow on trees, right? Like, you just have to then formulate it into that. And honestly, there are people who have learned to make money so quickly that it feels like they're giving away monopoly money, but it's because of their mindset, the wealth mindset. And so right now we have people that have been faithful to New Year, New You. They've been showing up every single day and they're looking for the breakthrough. What would you say would be the important thing that they need to first tap into when they are wanting to transition from maybe some of the thoughts and mindsets and processes that they have been used to being able to have a wealth mindset? Like, what is it that because before we even start talking about investing into a whatever it's investing in, it got to make sense. But if we go back to what my mama and daddy taught me, which was nothing about money, none of this makes sense to me. So what is it that we got to start doing so we can develop this wealth mindset for 2025?
Oh, great question. Great question. Well, the first thing is you got to figure out where you're starting at when it comes to your wealth mindset. Because if you just go at it, and Noreen said it best, like even with hers and it's food, money is the exact same way. We're in this cycle of doing the exact same thing that our parents did or what our friends do, all because we're stuck in a cycle. So it is, in my talk, I gave everybody some homework. If you did your homework, was to actually list down the first thoughts you had about money. Because even though we weren't taught money, we were taught money. We caught it. It wasn't like, you sat in a household and you didn't know things were going on. Things were going on and you picked up on some of those. And I don't say habits. I don't say curses. I say habits. You picked up on some of those habits. For instance, I remember, like what I said in my talk was like, I remember going on vacation. Like, so vacation is just a part of my life. Now, do I remember us ever planning to go on vacation? No. And so it is going back to, in order to change something, you have to recognize you need a change. And so you have to sit down with your thoughts and with going back to childhood. And sometimes that can be painful to be able to do that, because everybody didn't grow up in a great household and all they want to do is just forget everything that's going on. But if you feel you're in this cycle of, I just can't get ahead when it comes to money, building wealth, getting out of credit, and everything that I try to do what people tell me to do, but I fall back. So we got to figure out why we keep falling back. And so it is sitting and actually writing down what were the first things, what was going on in your household. Go back to the very first memory of money and how money was talked about. And now it's time to shift that perspective on money. So like someone told you money don't grow on trees. So that might be stuck in your head, or the stuckness is now you want to hoard money because they wouldn't allow you to have any, or you felt like your household didn't have any because every time you asked for something, they said no. And so now you try to hoard on to money because you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to get any more, versus, okay, no, I know how to create wealth. I know how to generate money. I don't have to hoard money to be able to actually survive. And so it does, it starts there and actually talking through that. And it's hard talking through that with your own self because it was yourself that was there. And so writing them down and then connecting them to what you do now, and then actually having somebody else sit down with you, like me, having somebody else sit down and now let's talk through that. How do we get you through that? And it takes work. It takes time because that's the way you grew up. Most of us on here are way above 18 years old. So we've been living with some of these things all of our lives. And so that is the first thing when it comes to actually thinking wealth and getting into that, because wealth does start in your head. You can work. And if you've been brought up to work and spend, it's almost like you feel like you're always going backwards.
Wow. Absolutely, y'all. Now, I don't know about that one part you said that we well above 18, because I don't know about you. I'm just a couple years over.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's a fact. Like, we are adults, y'all. It's got to be a point where we got to stop making excuses based on what happened when I grew up and say, you know what? You're right. I am ready to change this mindset. I'm ready to invest. I'm ready to do what I need to do so that I can have the future and my family can have the future that we deserve. All right. So, Dr. Lena. Okay. Now we're shifting over to Dr. Lena, who is helping you to create these custom coloring books, y'all. And I'm sure everybody had a chance to hear the talk and hear her story, and identifying what color you are and what you resonated with. And what I love so much too about what it is that you do is you do get people to start visualizing a little bit different when it comes to publishing. Now, I know that, you tell us the story about how you got into coloring your first book and how you said, okay, this is for kids. They don't got nothing for children. I'm going to create it. But then you decided that you wanted to do this incredible thing of launching a publishing company and helping others to get their own books. And you have seen it where you have people from all different walks of life that now have these coloring books as tools and building multiple streams of income. So could you tell me, when it comes to those individuals that are watching this now and they're saying, okay, this sounds great, Lena, but how can I create a coloring book for my business and make multiple streams? Who are your ideal customers, and from what you've experienced as far as like your ideal customers, give us also a unique customer that probably thought, coloring book is not about to help my business. Share with us some of that.
All right. Well, thank you for the question. I'll start with this. So we've dealt with clients from all, you think of it, we probably created it. If not, we look forward to creating it. So most people who say, well, coloring books are probably more so for kids than for my audience, if your audience is an adult, I would challenge you to think differently for several reasons. One, your clients need a unique tool, right? Because what your services are unique just as they are. So think beyond just a regular standard book. It allows you to communicate with them in a unique way, where you can still provide value to them. You can communicate with them. You can educate them. So all of our clients use their books in that way. We don't create a coloring book just to create a coloring book. We create a coloring book that has purpose. So just for instance, we've had even our own very own Daria Rose, and you just heard her talk about her perimenopause practice as a consultant. We've created a custom coloring book for her that she uses as a tool for her clients that tells you about perimenopause, about hot flashes, some of the things you can look for, some of the things you can do to help with your symptoms. We've had a massage therapist, our very own BPC member, Dr. Dom. She uses hers the same way, where it has tips in it. It has educational value in it. And then it also has the coloring aspect. And she even included her clients as part of her project. So we've done those. I've done an adult coloring book. I've done a cussing coloring book for teachers, for educators, because they say they can't cuss at the kids. So they pull out their cussing coloring book. So, to save their job. So we've done everything from cussing coloring books to coloring books that save lives and save souls. So we are grateful to be able to do something that's unique, that adds value to the services that you provide as a coach, a consultant, or even as a speaker. It gives your brand, your offering, something very unique, something different. And then we take you and make you an image in your own coloring book. So like Taria said, I took her and made her into an image. So we do that as well. And we don't use AI. I use these eyes that were once blind for 4 years to sit here and draw it out. So yes, so we take you, turn yourself into an image, then turn you into a colored image in your own book. So it gives you something different that nobody else has, right? And each one of us, because we all have experienced something different, we all service people differently. You should have a tool in your repertoire that's just as unique as you are and as different as the services you provide.
I love it. And at first I thought you were saying custom coloring book for teachers. She was saying cussing
Yes.
coloring book.
Yes.
That is very funny to me. Okay. Yes, honey. So if you can't, because you can't be saying nothing, but you got to have
No.
something to go with the ends. And so I love it. And y'all do me a favor. I want everybody to do me a favor in the chat. I want y'all to drop in the chat what it is that you do. What it is that you do, because I bet you Lena and even Dr. Dawn can help to create some ideas for you guys with what you do, so how you can build some multiple streams. So y'all type that in the chat, because I'm gonna have her to pull out some stuff and maybe create an idea of a coloring book that you might be able to do. Okay. So this panel has been good, y'all. Y'all are lighting us up with so much value and information. And so we have about another 20 minutes or so before we get through. And so we're going to ask you a couple of quicker questions so far, if we can, but give the values. Don't devalue the value. So Dr. Bertha, you know, one thing I want to share about you is that you are, how young are you again? Because, you know, she made sure, and when we were in Ghana, honey, she was like, just, can you please let everybody know that I am this year's young? How young are you again, Dr. Bertha?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I am 74 years young.
74. Now, the reason why I think this is so powerful to share, y'all, ain't she young? Okay. Doing her thing. By the way, more energy than a little bit. I heard that you got this kind of vitamin out here that you ain't told nobody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we didn't know. We didn't know we need it. Okay, but y'all.
Yes, you do.
But what I want to ask, though, about you being 74 years young, and then making a decision after your retirement age to get your credit in order, to get your finances in order. What even made you say, you know what, let me do this. Let me make sure that I get myself in order to a place where now I can travel all across the country, travel the world, be able to speak all over the place at your age. What made you decide to do it? Because I want nobody that's watching this video to have any excuse, because if you can do it, everybody here can do it.
Well, first of all, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. And I came to the decision that I wasn't getting results that I needed if I wanted to travel, if I wanted to do all the things that I wanted to do when I retired. So you have to evaluate yourself. You have to discipline yourself. You have to make some decisions, some decision that you have to make some changes. I always use the quote, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to be great. You got to get started to be great. So you got to start somewhere. I mean, any inventor, they have to start. That don't mean that they are going to invent the thing that they're trying to do without fail. They're going to keep trying. So I knew that if I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do when I retired, I had to make some changes. So again, the mindset. So at my age, I don't know, God just give me that energy. And I felt if I'm going through this, then I know someone else is going through this too. So I just asked God, give me the strength, give me the wisdom, give me the guidance and understand to help people get out of debt. You have to start now. If you have a job now and you may be much younger than I, it doesn't matter. If you fail to plan, obviously you're going to plan to fail. So you have to start now. So this is the beginning of the year. So let's start making some decisions now, because you're going to look up one day and you're going to be 62 where I was trying to retire and checking my finances. I was not in a position. So that's when I came to the decision that I have to make some changes. I don't want to keep living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have any investment. I didn't have no emergency fund. I had to tell myself, Bertha, you have to make some changes. So that's when I started working strategy. See, you can't strategize. You can't work your way to wealth. You're going to have to strategize your way to wealth. So you're going to have to discipline yourself. You're going to have to stop spending so much, things that you don't need. just get the things you need and not the things you just want. So that's where I came to the conclusion that I want to help other people. And if God give me the strength to do it, that's what I want to do. Because that's talking about money is a very sensitive thing to talk about. People don't want to talk. Don't get in my pocketbook. Don't be telling me what I can't do and what I can do. But if you listen to what we have to say, then you will see that you need to make some changes, and you need to change now, because you don't want to wait till you get to 62 and realize, I can't retire. I had to work 10 years over, or 12 really, over the time that I didn't want to work. But you may not be in the position that I was in. I had a good job. I was making good money. I had a good boss. I loved my job. And so it wasn't a burden to me to go to work. I went to work every day because I loved what I did. And I just retired in 23, December 29. I retired at 73 years old. So, hey, if I could do it, you could do it. So that's what encouraged me. And then now I want to encourage you to do it, because there's nothing that you can't do if you put your mind to it. It first starts with your mindset. And when you make up your mind, I'm tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of where I am, you're going to make some decisions and you're going to make some changes. So again, if I could do it at 74, you could do it. What's your excuse?
You better tell them. And real quick, let them know, where can they go to get in contact with you?
www.retiredanddebtfree.com. There you will get a free ebook on 7 practical tips on how to retire and be debt free.
www, y'all, retired and debt free. Y'all see it right there on the screen, retiredanddebtfree.com. Get your practical steps. Everybody needs them. And I don't get, like she said, if she could do it at 74, what's our excuse? Everybody should go and get that downloaded ASAP right now, quick, fast, in a hurry. I'm going to keep on the same conversation of finances. And so I just noticed too that like a lot of us, we kind of like connected in some way. And so we're going to go right underneath you with Dr. Rhonda Stinson Boyd, because now we are in a place, Dr. Rhonda, where I'm seeing in many of us are generation, as far as first generational entrepreneurs, first generational in a space where we are earning a significant amount more, having more degrees and things. And my question is, well, let's just say, okay, I'm interested in investing. Most of the time when we talk about investing into these different types of funds and things, we think that we need to have, $10,000. Well, let me wait until I get to 10,000 so that I can make that investment. But with you show people about getting started wherever you can get started, get in where you fit in. So what typically would you say is a good amount of money for someone to invest? And in that investing, what can we expect? Am I going to invest $10 and get, $1,000? Like, you got these people out here making these promises, child. So we want to know, what's the real deal Holyfield? Put us in.
Okay, so that one, that was a loaded question. So with investing and what I do, it depends on your age. It depends on your age and how much time you have. Anybody that's in their 50s to 55, really about $250 a month. By the time you get ready to really retire around 70, you should have a good nest egg. And when I say good nest egg, it could be, depending on how the market does, it could be 6 figures. But we run all of those for you. We actually run analysis for you so you can actually see what it is. Now, what I do is, because I can sit here and tell you, and the first thing somebody might say is, I don't got $250 and I'm like 60. Again, you start where you're at. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from, my first question to you is, when do you want to retire and how much money do you want? And then I'm going to tell you how much you should be saving. And then I don't want that to scare you, because the other question when we had talked, you're going to tell me exactly how much you can save, because we treat savings and investing as an option and not like a bill. It is either you're going to keep doing the exact same thing, working and paying bills, and stay in the same, wake up one day and you 62, 70 and be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Or you make it a priority. Wealthy people got wealthy because they made themselves a priority. And that's the problem. We don't make ourselves a priority. We make the electric company a priority, the water. Yeah, we need all that stuff. We do, and it needs to be paid. But when you put your money, do you first, you will figure out the rest. Because 9 times out of 10, we eat most of our money away, or most of our money is tied up in debt, which that's why Miss Bertha can help you get out of the debt to cut some of that back. So now you have that extra money, so you will be able to put aside. But you have to start, because it's all about time. It's all about compound interest. It's about timing. You need to start now with what you have, so you're not continuously being behind the ball and everything. And you need to build a wealth team around you. Like Miss Bertha would be part of your wealth team. I would be part of your wealth team. I have a book, and in the very back of the book, it has the listing of all the people you need on your wealth team, because building wealth is not a solo game. You need the right people talking about, it's so many moving parts. You need the right people around you that has your best interest at heart and know where you want to go. And so you can get in touch with me. And I'm doing a webinar this Friday. You can actually text MONEY, MONEY, to 803-676-1338 and actually register for the webinar this Friday. And I will get into more details on how I help you grow money.
Yes, y'all, listen. So make sure y'all send that text message in to 803-676-1338. Text MONEY. Also, everybody who is registered, let me just make sure, because we've got more and more people that are joining us on today. Guys, if you are not registered, I'm doing something big tonight. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss it. So go to newyearnewuconference.com. Register. If you're watching us on Facebook, you might not be registered. So if you're watching us on YouTube, 9 times out of 10, you may be registered. But even if you're not sure, you need to register, because our speakers are going to reach out to you. So make sure you go register. Okay, guys? newyearnewuconference.com. Okay. I want to now talk about, so we talked about money, right? And so now we got to position our mindsets, right? So we got to go deeper into talking about, the mindset and everything. And so I want to have a conversation about being stuck first, and then we're going to talk about the burnout, right? Because one of the things that you said, Noreen, you said it's very powerful. Somebody had even commented on it that, in order to get unstuck, you first need to acknowledge it, right? And so can you also maybe give us some characteristics of what that may look like? Because maybe some people are in denial, right? I know I have been in denial of, even because like you said, stuck can be in different forms. Stuck in your relationships. Oh my goodness. I had like the biggest epiphany the other day. When I say the other day, this could be like last year, but y'all know we talk as if it just happened, right? So I had the biggest epiphany the other day when I was just having a conversation about some of the mindset that I've had in regards to dating and how I've been stuck in a certain mindset based on what my dad instilled into me. And so some of us don't really know what the stuck looks like. So can you give us some characteristics of this and how how can well, I don't even want to go further beyond that. Just talk about the characteristics.
Okay, to talk about the characteristics, it's like I said with being stuck, because it could be stuck in anything. So for myself, like I was stuck in that relationship, and it's because I didn't know I was stuck. And it goes back to like how we were raised, right? So I was raised, and people stayed in relationships no matter how bad they were. And so I grew up watching people going around the same mountain. And so I continued doing the same thing. So that's what it is. We're just doing what we're raised to do. And until we learn something different, we don't do anything different. And it, like, even just going to like I have a friend, and she was raised totally different from me. And so just in general conversations, I learned from her, and started to implement things that I learned from her, because it was something different that I wasn't aware of. And so that's what it boils down to, is what we see, is what we're around. That's what we continue doing until we learn to do something different. And so for me, just talking with people in general, I see that they're stuck and they don't know that they're stuck. And that's why you have to take steps to be aware of it, because you won't do anything different. You will continue being the same. Like, I know a lady that was 80 something years old and was unhappy most of her life, but she didn't know to do anything different. She traveled, she had a good life, but she was still an unhappy person. So that's what it really boils down to. We have to look at ourselves. We have to look within and to take steps to see, okay, no, this is not what I want to do. Like, one of the things for me was, there was a point where I wanted to do something different, and I just didn't know how to get there. So it's different layers to it. It's different things to it. And then with the stuck, it's also built on layers. Like, one of the things that is brokenness. It's so many different things. Broken, depression. It's a whole bunch of different things that makes people become stuck. Somebody was talking about something with the burnout. Even that was something I myself was stuck in, because I was doing too much and I ended up in the hospital. So it's just so many different things to get unstuck from. And until we learn and then start to apply the tools, then that's the only way we can change, right? That's the only way we can become unstuck. So it could be anything. And it really starts from childhood. So it's undoing layers and layers and layers and layers. And it takes work, and it's a process, but we can do it. And I'm speaking from experience.
And how can we get in contact with you, Noreen?
You can contact me by victoriouslivingforyou.com. And it's the Victorious Living, the number 4 and you.com. And you will receive a free ebook, and it talks about the awareness, and it talks about words and thoughts, and it talks about the foundational tips that you need to become unstuck.
I love it. Thank you so much. And what I would love for everybody to do for me is to do a favor. Make sure, first of all, go to victoriouslivingforyou.com. Of course, again, every single one of you are going to get contacted by our speakers. But I want y'all to put in the chat, what are some examples? It ain't you, because I know y'all don't have no examples, right? Because we moving beyond stuck, right? We're not stuck no more. But what are some examples that you actually have seen people get stuck in? I'll give you an example. I know people right now, they're the way that they speak about their life, they stuck. And when I say everything, it ain't never nothing positive that come out their mouth about their life. Hey, how you doing? Oh, well, you know. Oh my God. And then when you try to make them aware of it indirectly by speaking positive, they don't get it. They're going to figure out a way to make your positivity negative. So some people are just stuck with being negative. So what are some other ways that you've seen people be stuck? Are they stuck in a relationship with someone? Are they stuck with maybe having, I know someone right now who is stuck in a friendship because she says she don't want to be by herself. So she's willing to deal with this friend that's toxic and stay stuck in that instead of figuring out a way to find new positive friends. So type in the chat, what are some things that you've seen people get stuck in? And I love it. I love it. Okay. And so now, and I'm glad you even led that, because you actually segued us over to Don, because Don, I wanted to ask you when we talk about burnout, right? And yes, I've seen people get stuck, and I have been that person. Matter of fact, when I knew that you were going to be speaking with us, I was excited as well, because again, we don't hear a lot of times more men speaking on this topic, and I just think it's powerful. But I want to have this conversation too about what does it lead to? Because you even kind of mentioned it. I'm gonna mute you real quick because I'm getting a little feedback. So once I'm done, I'll unmute you. But for me, I was the team no sleep girl. For me, and even to this day, some people think they always trying to tell me, Tari, you need to take a break, but they don't realize that I take plenty. There are days where I have literally woke up and just not felt right and say, cancel all my appointments. I'm going to the day spa, right? And some of y'all know that. Y'all know that for a fact. But when somebody is here that's saying, I hear what you're saying, but I have to grind. It's up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me. And all the kind of sayings that we say, what can burn out like physically outside of just the mental aspect, but what have you seen it lead to with people that you work with in this space of helping them to overcome it? The floor is yours.
Well, of course, actually,
I think
hear me?
yeah, no, you're sounding a little like slow, like the thing.
Yeah, I am.
You might, you know what, Don? We might have to have you exit and come back in. You see now your computer is on the burnouts, right? Okay, yeah. So maybe exit out and come back in. It might refresh it because it's coming slow. And so I'll ask you when you come back, because we do gotta go to okay, perfect. So what we'll do is we'll go to our next person, and then hopefully he'll be able to come back in, because I do want to talk to Daria about, because one of the things I saw somebody also comment, and honestly, Daria, I ain't even gonna lie. A few weeks ago, I was waking up in a bed full of, it was just, I was having heat, night sweats. And I recently started taking some multivitamins, B12. I was looking at a couple of other things, just stuff that as women that we may lack. And I've been taking a lot, and I have been sleeping like a baby. And so one of the things you commented in the chat was that maybe it has to do with our food. And so are there ways that we can combat some of these symptoms that we deal with as women when we're in perimenopause stage or even up to menopause stage?
Yes, there are. One of the other things that I also talk about, not just the food, but we don't take into consideration, or we don't take it as importantly as we should, is our sleep. And so our sleep is the foundation of everything else. The foods that you eat, the minerals that you take, those will work better when your body is rested, when it is repairing itself. In regard to various foods, many people, soy foods help. Other people, soy foods don't help. So when I encourage people to begin to look at what they're doing, what they had done previously, what they ate, to see, did a hot flash or did a different one of the other many symptoms occur after that, you can start to see the things that trigger you. Because what works for one woman may not work for another, and vice versa. So that is why some women are very successful if they use hormone therapy. Others are successful if they use herbs. But you've got to start, your body. So you've got to start to monitor. So for you, you could see, because you know what? And I bet you what you were taking, if you were taking magnesium and the B12s, that's actually helping you sleep better, which if that's helping you sleep better, that's helping your body repair itself better, which means the hormones will help regulate somewhat, and you will have less of the symptoms.
Love it. And Daria actually has some amazing items too that she makes available to those of you guys, these chews that we all love. But if somebody wants to get in contact with you, they're tasty, y'all. The chews are yum, yum, yum. But if somebody, I thought she was about to put it on the screen. But if somebody would like to get in touch with you, where do they need to go, my darling?
You will go to www.imstillhot.com. There you can reach me and we can discuss some of the products that help with the brain fog and the sleep. And for those of you who suffer with weight management, there's the coloring book. And I just have to shout out Lena because Taria talks about this is me. This is what Lena drew with those eyes that were blind. And so both the book, Perimenopause, the coloring book, and one of my favorites is the fan that reminds you that you're still hot. But it also does double duty and it will cool you down. So www.imstillhot.com.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Y'all make sure y'all go check that website and get some of them chews, honey, that she got. Okay. Now, Coach Don, I'm going to call you Dr. Don, Coach Don, back to you in regards to like what happens, because I think it's also important. Yes, we can talk about, okay, yes, we might have some mental challenges, mental breakdowns, but there is a whole movement of people who are like, telling people like we don't need to sleep. We can sleep when we pass, right? And all these types of carrying ons, and people are finding out in the worst way what burnout is causing to their physical health. And so having burnout, what can that actually lead to? And what have you seen with the clients that you've worked with?
Okay, well, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Daria was talking about the aspect, of sleep. And because, burnout consists of so many things, the way I look at is we all have anxiety at different times, different ones, different amounts. And I've had someone even tell me, no, I don't ever get anxiety, whatever. But anxiety is there. And then when anxiety continues to rest upon us, then it becomes an inner thing of the stress, and so it just kind of stays there with us. So what happens here, if we go to bed with anxiety and stress when we're in burnout, we wake up with anxiety and stress the next day. Not only that, but during various times during the night. And this is the challenge when someone is going through extreme burnout. A lot of mental challenges are this way, but you're sleeping and then you wake up in the middle of the night, whatever it is, turning over, or someone has to go to the restroom. They immediately start thinking about it again. And so that stress and that anxiety, it hits them again. And so with all of that, it's hard for them to get rest. And rest is so important because it plays on us, and then we become irritable. And then we start holding grudges at people and resentment and bitterness. And then all that builds upon us. And then in addition to some of this, and this is what I experienced from a child on, and my first book, #Attack Anxiety, I talk about this, and that is the aspect of anxiety attacks, but primarily panic attacks. And so all of these things can really kind of work together, because I'd even gotten to a point, and I mentioned this in my talk, to where hearing the phone ring, my assistants out there answering the phones, one time I actually got underneath the desk so that when they come in, they wouldn't see me. And doesn't that sound ridiculous? But that's what it does. And so a person's got to have rest, because all the stress, all the anxiety, it puts them in a very dark place. That's the best way I can say it. And when you're in that dark place, you don't know what to do. Who can you trust? And what can I do to get out of this dark place? So it all works together.
Mm-hmm. And how can we get in touch with you, Coach Don?
Okay, my name, www.donwomble.com.
Make sure you guys reach out. He'll be reaching out to you guys too. But listen, y'all, we've got to stop getting into the space of not being able to learn how to separate, detach, and reset. And so I love this conversation. Okay, well, we got two more of you guys, and we are going to go to Dr. Dawn. I want to talk to you, Dr. Dawn, quickly about the children's books, and for those who are interested in possibly getting started with their own. One thing I will tell you, and you saw it, children's books are huge, especially internationally, and you've had a chance to have kids with your books all over the world, and I'm sure that was incredible. So you can kind of briefly talk about that, but what would be the step that you would want to give, the first step, to anybody who's interested in doing their own children's book?
Yes, it's been very interesting too. When I started, I didn't think about who was going to be reading the books, like worldwide. And so I started spreading literacy around the world, because I have a teacher friend who teaches people who immigrate to America, and they come, they don't know English, they can't add, and they're using my books, and they're learning how to read and write, and their families are using the books. And so I wanted to go and meet some of the people in person who are able to use my books. So we just got back from Ghana, and it was just amazing to see all the kids. They were so excited to see us and the books. And then when I spoke, I had some other teachers that come up to me, and we're working on getting them more children's books. So just spreading literacy around the world, and knowing that your books are being read, and the children are just so excited. And I gave them some of the writing books. So now they're going to write their own stories. And so I have a writing book and a writing program to help you discover not just writing children's books, but you can write whatever you'd like, a memoir, a self-help book, whatever it is that you want to write. But the very first step is to know what message you want to bring to the world. Like, what do you want to write about? I write about my personal experiences, both positive and negative. I have a series where I wrote about a bad dragon that I met, and she terrorized me. So I wrote about it, and now there's a good dragon, and the good dragon's going to go and have some more adventures. When I was speaking in Ghana, a woman walked up to me during the break, and she was so excited that I was talking about the subject I was talking about, because she had something awful happen to her, and she wanted to write about it. And I gave her the ability to, yes, write about it. The world wants to hear what you have to say. They want to hear your stories, because you're going to help someone else learn how to navigate something, whether it's good or bad. So the very first step is to know what it is you want to tell the world. What do you want to talk about? And how are you going to introduce it to the world?
Love it. And Dr. Dawn, do me a favor, let us know, how can we get in touch with you?
My website is landofquailshouse.com.
Love it. Land of Hail. Look, I was going to say Land of Hails, like hailing. What?
Whales.
Land of Quails, not hailing. Land of quailshouse.com. Make sure you guys plug in. Again, Dr. Dawn will also be reaching out to you guys as well. And last but definitely not least, Dr. Lena Peyton Webb. We are doing the custom coloring books and self-help books. Dr. Lena, if somebody wants to write a coloring book, and you saw all the people drop in the chat different things that they could do, or different things that they actually do, who is a great fit for getting their own coloring book done, and what do they need to do to get started?
Yes, so that is a very good question. So the person who can benefit from having a custom coloring book or self-help book, but specifically the coloring book, because that's what she asked for, is any one of you. So any one of you that solve a problem. So just because it's a coloring book, that coloring book will solve a problem. So the service you provide, the gift that you give to other people, it does something for someone else, right? It takes somebody from either chaos to clarity, right? It takes them from pain to purpose. It gives them some type of solution. So whatever service you provide, we can put it in a coloring book. We can make it fun. We can make it engaging. We can make it educational. We can make it so that it delivers the same results that you would deliver if they were talking to you face to face. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at pagestопроphets.com. That's pages with the S-T-O, profits with the S.com. And we would love to be able to take you and turn you into your own custom coloring book or self-help book.
Thank you, darling. Well, listen, y'all, we love you guys. Thank you all for just being amazing. And remember, guys, we still have a couple of more days in January. So you're going to see some of these speakers do their power talks. Y'all, thank you guys so much. And so listen, if you are watching this and you're like, this was great, I want to be a part of it. What else can I do? I want to get all the replays. I want to hear from everybody. You're going to go to newyearnewyouconference.com. Now, this is the deal. Okay. I know I said this was today's the last day that you can qualify, but I wanted to come up with something I knew was going to blow you away. So today, because you were here, and it's now a few of you that are still here, you have to be registered. Okay. So once you're registered, you then get a link that takes you to the Facebook event chat where you guys have been plugging in. And I promise you, I'm going to create a post to show some of the stuff that you guys have been putting in that Facebook event chat, because your comments that you've been posting has been so powerful. So everybody, today you go and post. You'll have until an hour from now. So an hour from now to post your favorite recap of today. Not only will you get your name entered once, but you're going to get your name entered 10 times. So instead of us doing the drawing of the 5 names, you're going to go into the Facebook event chat and have your name entered 10 times. Tomorrow, Monday, the 27th, I will be live and we're going to be selecting half of the 5 names, because I want y'all to come all the way until the end, because then we'll select another 2 to 3 names that will be entered in for the grand prize giveaway. Every single day that you guys continue to stay plugged in is another day that you get your name added to the list. Somebody's going to walk away with $1,000. The only thing is, when their name is selected, they got to be here live. So it ain't I'm telling you, this is how it works, y'all. You got to show up to win. Okay. You got to show up to win. So we're about to jump off now. We're running behind, but we're going to jump off now because we have another live that we're going to be doing, where we're going to be talking to those of you guys who want to go on a cruise. So if you want to go on a cruise, you want to learn about this, guys, you want to go ahead and go to that website right here, cruiseforauthors.com. We're about to go live to tell you all about the cruise. So we'll see you guys there. Join us live. Thank you so much to everybody, our panelists, to our speakers. You guys will see me live tomorrow night, as well as on the last day. I'll be live again, just discussing how grateful I am to all of our speakers. Make sure when they email you that you follow up. All right. Okay, y'all. Well, we'll see you over there on the live stream for the Authors Cruise. God bless you all. Let me pull everybody back on the screen real quick so everybody can wave. Hold on. Oh, let me pull it off the screen. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Well, good night, everyone. We'll talk to you later.